Hey, this is Jeff, and welcome back to Fallout 3 Pacifism and more. I finally remembered to put the new bobbleheads on the display stand, and in a bit of deja vu, you know how resolving blood ties peacefully pushed our karma up to good and we had to go on a burglary spree to get it back down to neutral? Well, rescuing the kids from Paradise Falls last week gave us another 300 karma. We'd barely dropped back to neutral after robbing Evan King and Moriarty, so that put our karma over 500. Now, under normal circumstances, Luz wouldn't just rob her neighbors for fun and profit, but desperate times call for desperate measures. If she gets killed because she went exploring in poor health, then no GECK, no Project Purity, no clean water for people in the wasteland. So stealing enough to afford that infirmary upgrade is really for their benefit. I hucked every piece of loose junk from all of our neighbors' houses off screen, and while it didn't get us enough money for the infirmary, it did get our karma back to neutral. Now, if we can find Lucy, I want to talk to her before we go anywhere.
Hello there. Nice to see you.
I was looking for an in-game excuse to go back to Meresti, but she doesn't have any dialogue about Arafu at all. I have to go now.
Oh, okay. Well, anytime you find yourself back in Megaton, be sure and look me up.
If you talk to her after you discover her parents are dead, but before you find Ian, you can tell her what's going on, and her reaction is what you'd expect. She's horrified and begs you to find him. But it completely skipped my mind to give her an update while I was running back and forth between Arafu and Meresti. Her dialogue can be a little strange if you find him first. Like, you can't tell her their parents are dead, but you can tell her you delivered the letter, and she's just like, "Oh, I forgot all about that, thanks." And apparently she has no dialogue at all because I didn't deliver the letter. I told Ian to stay with the family. So we do have an in-game excuse to come here. For years, I thought if you convinced Ian to stay with the family, her letter was stuck in your inventory forever because it's a quest item and you can't drop it. But if you go back and talk to him later, you can still give it to him. And it does kind of drive me crazy to have undroppable items cluttering up my inventory long after the related quest is over, but that's not the only reason I wanted to come here. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Thanks for setting me straight on everything.
If you give him the letter during the quest, it convinces him to leave the family and go back to Arafu. But now that he's committed to staying and learning how to manage his condition, it doesn't. I have a letter for you from your sister Lucy.
She really misses being home, and she's asked about me in here a lot. You have no idea how much this means to me. Thanks so much.
I have to go now.
Sounds good. Come back and visit me sometime.
Now, the meta reason I came here. Thanks to the comments for pointing out there's a mini-nuke in Vance's room. They're worth a lot of money, so we definitely don't want to miss that. And our karma's neutral at the moment, but probably not by much, so it wouldn't hurt to have a cushion in case we get another big dump of good karma when we find the GECK. And if he has anything else valuable, we might as well grab that too. Maybe in the safe? Average lock, no problem. No mini-nuke, but that's some good loot. Well, I was stumped, so I cheated and searched for mini-nukes in the GECK, and there is one in Meresti, but we need to zoom out a bit. It's on the overhang above the storage area, opposite side of the tracks from Carl's shop. And there's no way to get up there, so you'd have to blow it down with a grenade. Luce doesn't have any grenades.
Come back to the scary vampire lair, have we?
And even if she did, I wouldn't want to risk one of the family wandering into the blast radius and turning everybody hostile. But I will help myself to anything good in the storage area. I mean, the family drinks blood, so Project Purity won't do them much good. But call it a tax. Even people who don't benefit have to pay their share. Yeah. And like taxes, you want to collect them quietly in the background so nobody objects. They won't notice it's gone until April 15th. Can't put off going to Vault 87 any longer. And while we're passing through Lamplight, we can sell this stuff to Knick-Knack. Right, we saw that dog on the way in. Get far enough away from that to fast travel.
You want to go to Big Town? Of course you do!
Sticky. We do have a fast travel marker for Big Town now, so it'd be safe to take him, but I really want to get this done before we're high enough level that masters start spawning. Look, I promise I'll take you, but I'm just too busy right now. I have to go.
Why won't you just take me to Big Town?
I will, just later. Alright, armor weight makes a huge difference to your detection chance, so I'm going to do as much of this as I can naked. Except the shady hat, because our sneak skill's only 99. 1 point of sneak skill buff versus 1 pound of armor probably doesn't make much difference either way, but it amuses me to run around in my underwear and a hat. I do have the power armor hotkeyed in case running away becomes a necessity. My usual tactic of taking it off for a burst of speed when things go sideways probably isn't a good idea if we have half a dozen brutes machine gunning us in the back. Score, including a scoped 44. I lost the one I used as a telescope when I gave it to Daniel while we were escaping from Project Purity. I will be looting as long as things are calm, by the way. Carton of cigarettes, probably the highest value to weight ratio of all junk items, except for sugar bombs, and that's only because we made the deal with Murphy. Anyway, don't forget we also have 6 stealth boys. If we go into caution, the best thing is probably to use one and sneak ahead, find a good hiding spot, and wait till we're back to hidden. Can't afford to waste them on retreating. That's what the power armor's for. And I think... yeah, this is the dead end with the mannequin. There's a skill book in here. Energy weapons. Useless to lose, but worth a lot of money. Now, since we'll be leaving everything alive behind us, at some point it'll become more dangerous to go back than forward. If we get spotted after that, the power armor might make more sense than a stealth boy. Just make a mad dash for the end. And that other ominous red door leads to Murder Pass. And while Luce doesn't know we won't be going back the way we came, that's all the more reason for her to want to conserve stealth boys. These rad brooches are a red herring to get you to make some noise and attract the super mutants, but Luce won't be attacking them, so that shouldn't be a problem. We could close the door so they can't follow us, but that's a bad idea if we have to make a run for it.
We almost out of green stuff. Others go to find some. We must have more of us to stop the humans. Need to find more humans then. Make them like us. We put them in green stuff. More of us if green stuff work. It makes many mistakes. We dump bodies in cave too many times. Green stuff don't work only because men we take weak. Now try and hide from them. We are unstoppable! Too fun.
That's kind of a major plot point, that humans are transformed into super mutants and this is where they do it, and it does explain why you find them in certain areas of the world map, searching hospitals and science facilities or gathering captives, but it doesn't really go anywhere. You can't destroy their supply of FEV or otherwise interfere with their operations. Yeah, that rad roach interrupted them, so now they're not going to finish their conversation and wander off. But they did move, and I think there's enough room to sneak past with a stealth boy. Fingers crossed. Even with a stealth boy, if you touch them, they automatically detect you. Which is fair. Yeah, I think that gap's big enough. This is kind of tense.
Must guard the birthplace. Death to humans, life to us. Hungry. I go find food.
Uh-oh. If he really goes for food, I don't want to be in the middle of the doorway. No. Oh, man.
Stupid, small humans. Not enough meat. Only fun to shoot at. I'm leaving now.
Oh, don't bump into me. Holy crap. Get upstairs. Okay. They will chase you through loading screens if they're aggroed, but they won't randomly come up here, so we're safe for the minute. Nothing to see here. Move along. Can we get around him? I think so. Yes. Make the most of this stealth boy while it lasts. Now, the way upstairs... Well, there it goes. Yeah, the stairs are right behind me, but there's some good loot down here. I'm not wasting a stealth boy on looting, but even without one, sneak 100 is no joke. If we stay away from any lights, we're probably okay as long as we go slow and don't get too close to any super mutants. Looks like the coast is clear. Don't!
Bones around my neck!
One on the catwalk must have turned around at exactly the wrong time. It's probably running downstairs right now. Yep. Get back to the atrium, find some good shadows. Ow. Now the one down here's gonna join the party. And another one. No way we're gonna get back to caution now. Plan B. Power armor and gun it.
Now try and hide from this!
Oh, this is gonna suck. This is the scripted ambush I mentioned last week. No sense trying to avoid it now. Just run through it.
Now try and hide from this!
We're picking up more and more on our tail as we go, but if we can get to the labs,
Found you!
hopefully the ones that are way behind and can't see us anymore won't follow us through. And here we are. Well, there's no point slowing down now. I doubt we can get far enough ahead to get back into caution, but in a minute we won't need to.
Found you!
Luz is praying for a miracle at this point, and here one is.
You! Over there! It can't be! Come speak to me! You! I'm in the room to your left. Use the intercom next to the window. Actually be a pure human?
Well, that was interesting. I don't think I ever used the intercom while I was still monologuing before, but I couldn't afford to wait for him to finish. A friendly super mutant. Now I've seen everything.
No! Must you use that vulgar term? Yes. I was born in the FEV chambers. But a super mutant, I certainly am not. I prefer the term metahuman. Suits me better, don't you think? Perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself. The name's Fawkes.
Intelligence check. How ironic that the others consider you a mutant of their kind.
Yes. Indeed, it is ironic. Forgive my astonishment, but I hadn't expected to meet someone with such a learned outlook of these things. It is a pleasant change. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. It was only a matter of time before someone like you showed up for the GECK.
What do you know about the GECK?
I know what it is. I know where it is. And best of all, I know how you can get your hands on it. Let me out of here, and I will place the GECK safely in your hands. At the end of the hallway, to your right is a maintenance room. Inside, you'll find the fire control console for the medical area. Trip the alarm on it, and I'll be able to get out.
Okay, Fawkes, you've got a deal.
I'm glad to see you are a sensible person. Now, get me out of this place. I can't stand it anymore.
I have to go now.
It is my hope that we will speak again soon.
This is room 5. Any chance? Nope. Still in danger. Gun it. Now, using the fire alarm opens all the cells, and everything in them except Fawkes is hostile. But there's also a locked terminal that lets you open cells individually, right here. And fortunately, it's only average difficulty, so we can hack it. Open isolation room 5. And back to Fawkes.
We are the future.
Okay, that didn't look like all of them, but it was still a lot. Little help, Fawkes?
Hiding's a coward's game.
Yeah, Call it what you will. I'm hiding. I traveled with Fawkes a good bit in the Quo Vadis playthrough. I met him in the Skills Dash series too, but I was keeping my karma neutral for the same reason as Luz, and he'll only become a permanent companion if your karma is good. But he's true to his word if you free him, and he'll be a temporary companion until he retrieves the GECK. And he will absolutely slaughter anything that gets in his way without any help from us. He can take on 2 or 3 masters at a time, no sweat, so like 8 brutes, forget about it. If you're high enough level that overlords start spawning, then he's in a bit of trouble. And I said early on that I wouldn't use companions unless it was necessary, because even though companion kills don't increment your kill count in Fallout 3 like they do in New Vegas, it felt like it'd be too easy to abuse that loophole and violate the spirit of a pacifist run. You technically don't have to free him. If you stack a ton of rad resistance and bring enough rad away to keep up with what gets through, you can get the GECK yourself, but I don't think Luz could pull it off. So I'm counting this occasion as necessary.
Finally! Freedom! True freedom! Ha ha ha! I cannot thank you enough for this gift. You have no idea how long I've pictured this moment in my mind, and it feels far better than I'd imagined. Now, for my part of the bargain, follow me.
Freeing him does give you some karma, but I think it's only like 100. The cushion from robbing the family should be enough to keep us neutral. Frag grenades. Excellent value to weight ratio. Yeah, with Fawkes on point, we can do a little more looting than we were able to do on the way here. As soon as he kills this guy, we'll check that bed again. There we go. If there aren't any more around, we can top off our hit points without using any stim packs. Yes. Luz has a bad feeling about this room. Mysterious door that requires a key. I did a whole sidebar video about the alleged plot holes with what's going to happen in a minute, so I'll just put a link in the description. Super short version. You can piece together an explanation that makes sense from canon sources, but it's far from obvious. Huh. This is the door I was talking about last week when I leveled up and said there was a hard lock in Vault 87 with some really good loot behind it, which is why I put so many points in lockpick. Apparently, my memory failed me because it's only average. But the good loot part is definitely true.
Okay, you stay here. Beyond this door, the hallways and chambers are flooded with radiation. I'll get the case and bring it right back. Keep your eyes open. Many of my lesser-minded brethren are bound to stumble across us.
I don't know if they originally planned to have more mutants spawn behind you and that got cut, or if it was always just a way to build tension, but he is wrong. We will not be interrupted. And yeah, now that I think about it, I bet it's on purpose. Get you all wound up, so when he finally puts the GECK in your hands, it's such a relief you let your guard down, and that's when things go sideways. And hey, I have a new telescope, so we can get a better look at the GECK chamber. Well, that one's in such good condition I can't even combine it with the other one. Same there. Anyway, you get an even better view if you grab it yourself, but you're also in a hurry, because he's not lying. The radiation in there does suck.
As promised, here's the GECK. I hope it's worth it. I'm afraid this is where you and I part company. I'll find my way out of this place. Don't worry. Maybe we'll meet again somewhere in the wasteland.
Now, some of the mutants from the living quarters came upstairs and got killed by Fawkes, and we still have 5 stealth boys, so what could go wrong? Run through the bad vibes room as fast as we can. But somehow, the flashbang teleports us back. Which is not something I cover in the Vault 87 plot holes video.
Objective is secured, sir.
Good work, soldier. Make sure the GECK is secured aboard my vertibird.
Yes, sir. I'll have the techs come down and remove it immediately, sir.
You're certain she's unharmed?
Yes, sir. She'll pass out shortly, but we can revive her.
Excellent. Prepare her for transport immediately. So, you're awake. Let's keep this nice and simple. You're going to tell me the code for that purifier, and you're going to tell me now.
Sadly, Autumn doesn't have any Black Widow dialogue, but that won't stop Luz from trying. Whatever you want, big boy, just don't hurt me. I mean, a little spanking's okay.
Now that's just what I wanted to hear. So what's the code?
Now, it's tempting to give him the wrong code, and the Enclave soldier who dies off-screen as a result doesn't add to your kill count in the vanilla game, or even with the mod by default. But if you have a really strict view of the accountability in that situation, or if you want him to die and you've always been pissed that the game doesn't give you credit for it, you can configure the mod to make his death bump up your kill count. I'll show you the command to do that as soon as we get out of these restraints. Anyway, I don't know what the code is.
You lie!
Colonel, I have need of you.
Mr. President, I have no time for other matters. I'll be with you shortly.
Now, Colonel.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have a word with you face to face. I think there are a few things that you and I should discuss. You'll find your possessions in the locker near the door. I'll unlock the way for you. And I'll unlock your restraints as well. I'll be waiting for you in my office. Please don't carry.
Now, to make the game increment your kill count if you give Autumn the wrong code, bring up the console and type set pamconfig rr bad code kill counts to 1. Which is water under the bridge now. You need to do it before you're abducted or it doesn't have any effect. Now, let's get our stuff out of the locker. And we level up. We'll put 20 points in science so we can hack hard terminals with the lab coat. 1 point in sneak so we don't need the shady hat anymore. And 2 points in medicine. And for the perk, level 10, no question about it, animal friend. And my hotkeys are all reset now, so excuse me for a minute.
Hold it right there. You're supposed to be in that holding cell. You're not going anywhere. There's a full complement of guards in the next room. As soon as I get them, you're going back to your cell. In a body bag if necessary.
That's kind of odd, but cool. In addition to a normal speech check, there's also a persuasion option based straight up on your charisma, like the one with Holly. Guaranteed success on the speech check, but I'm not sure I've ever seen the charisma line. I probably have. This isn't the first character I've ever played with high charisma, but I don't remember it. Anyway, I'm on my way up to see the president. How about I put in a good word for you?
You are? I mean, you would? Just make sure he knows I was real strict with you, okay? And that I didn't have my uniform on backwards this time.
Which gets us by him, but other Enclave troops on the level are still hostile. But as soon as Eden sees we're on the way...
Fall back to regroup.
Attention to all Raven Rock personnel. This is your president speaking. I've invited our guests from Vault 101 to my office. Please do not impede her progress. Thank you for your cooperation.
And now we have the run of the place. The president wants us to hurry, but Luz isn't exactly the poster girl for doing what she's told. Might as well see if there's anything we can steal before we see him. And the meta reason is, when you approach either one of the doors to level 2, Autumn countermands the president's orders and everybody in the base turns hostile again. At which point we will be in too much of a hurry to loot.
Hello.
Hello.
Attention! This is Colonel Autumn. You are hereby ordered to ignore the President's previous directive. The prisoner from Vault 101 is to be shot on sight. I repeat, shot on sight. This is an order.
Ha, but shoot on sight implies someone will see us, and with any luck, they will not. There are 2 guys behind that door waiting to ambush us. Right across the hall from that is Colonel Autumn's bedroom. The energy weapons bobblehead is in there, and this is your only chance to get it. It's useless to lose, but Just on the off chance there might be an energy weapon skill check somewhere, we'll pick it up. And as long as we're in here, we might as well steal everything he owns. I didn't use the Taser Fist once in Vault 87, just to see if I could do it old school, but these are the last two guys between us and the exit, so it's clearly doable. I could either burn a stealth boy to sneak past or just gun it, maybe take a few shots in the back, but this is too much fun not to use it once in a while.
Engaging hostile.
Now, run away! The President's office is through here. There's a scripted scene of Autumn's mutineers in a fight with Eden's robots, but there's no danger if you don't get involved. Any second. Don't mind if I loot these guys, right? That's actually no better than my power armor, and pound for pound it's worth less than Wonder Glue. Leave it.
Ah, face to face at last. It's high time we met. Mutations like the super mutants and ghouls must be purged from our society, our world, before we can proceed anew. By making a few small modifications to the purifier your father worked on, mutations can be eradicated with a little effort. There is a vial in front of you filled with a modified FEV virus. It needs to be inserted into the control console for the purifier. It's not too much to ask of you, is it?
Dude, if you have intel on me, you know I'm a pacifist. Even in your most deluded fantasy, how did you think you could talk me into committing genocide? There's no way I'm doing that.
I find that unfortunate and most disappointing. I must impress upon you the severity of the situation. I cannot allow you to leave unless the vial is in your possession.
I had a couple dilemmas with the mod if you convince Eden to self-destruct. First, does he count as a creature killed like a robot or a person killed because he has a synthetic human personality? More importantly, there are around 40 NPCs, 11 robots, some rad roaches, and a Deathclaw in Raven Rock. To be consistent with previous features, it kind of feels like they should go on your kill count too. But a lot of them die before the place explodes, like the 2 Eden Sentry Bots killed, and they don't all have ref IDs, so there's no way to make an accurate count of who was still alive when you escaped. In the end, I did nothing. If you think that sounds like a must-have feature, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. But Luz is obviously not going to blow up a heavily populated facility. I'll just be on my way then.
I'm afraid that's not possible. Not until you've taken the vial.
Fine, I'll take it. But if you think I'm going to put it in the purifier, you're dreaming. At level 10, Eden's robots and turrets should be able to take care of Autumn's soldiers all the way to the exit. If there were Hellfire troopers spawning in, that'd be a different story. Back off a bit. Don't want to get hit by a stray shot. Autumn's vertibirds take off no matter how the conversation with Eden goes. They obviously evacuate if you trigger the self-destruct, but since we didn't, they're presumably leaving because they're losing the battle with Eden's forces. Yeah. We're out. And here's the next new feature in the mod. Enclave IFF Transponder. You pick up a small electronic device abandoned in all the confusion. It seems to be an identification transponder carried by Enclave field operatives. As long as you have it in your inventory, you will not be shot on sight by Enclave forces. Nice. This feels weird. I always try to shoot down a vertibird, and more than once I've succeeded.
My friend! I see I found you at last! I knew you had survived, and I had hoped to assist in your rescue, to repay my debt to you. As I owe you my freedom, I felt it was only fair that I return the favor. After all, I know no one else in this world.
He won't follow us because our karma is neutral, but I don't want to be rude. Well, hopefully it's still neutral. I could always use a hand. Would you like to follow me?
I appreciate the offer, but I must decline. I have an entire world to explore, and I must not be delayed any further. Goodbye, my friend. Perhaps I will join you in the future, if your goals are virtuous enough to draw me away.
Good. We are still neutral. Now let's loot these guys he killed and show you how the transponder works. I hate to leave laser pistols behind, because if we ever get to Fort Independence, we can trade them to Kasdan for relationship points with the outcasts, but we're literally at the encumbrance limit. Now, I know there's an Enclave scouting post on the bridge across from Arafu, right beside Northwest Seneca, and Fawkes just confirmed we have neutral karma, so it should be safe. The transponder works basically like the ghoul mask, except it's a miscellaneous item, so you don't have to wear it, you just need to have it in your inventory. Anyone in the Enclave faction will ignore you unless you provoke them, but if you attack, they will aggro. And Enclave forces are smarter than ferals, so they won't turn friendly again if you just run away and get back to hidden for a few seconds. When you come back out, they'll remember you and still be hostile. If you think it gives you an unfair advantage, it's not a quest item or anything, so you can sell it or just throw it away. And as you can see, they're not hostile. Hey guys, I know my power armor isn't standard issue, but I'm trying to infiltrate the Brotherhood of Steel. Secret mission. Can't talk about it.
Hello.
Hey, did you hear about Raven Rock? Colonel Autumn went full mutiny on the Bounty with Eden. They evacuated on vertibirds, and now there's nobody there but robots. Pretty messed up, am I right? Anyway, I'm going to go back to Megaton and save. If you bail out when I start talking about the modding details, don't forget to like and subscribe before you go. Leave a comment if you have suggestions for other features to make a no-kill run more enjoyable, but I'd be delighted if you decided to stick around for the technical stuff. One more quick thing. Here's what the transponder looks like if you drop it. I just retextured a sensor module, but red with different colored lights and wires, so it's easier to pick out if you accidentally drop it in a pile of junk or something. Making the game bump up your kill count if you give Autumn the wrong code works kind of like the Tranquility Lane failsafe fix, but the Enclave soldier who dies off screen doesn't actually exist as an NPC, so I made a surrogate and put him in an empty cell. I overrode the last line of the conversation between Autumn and the supervisor with an extra condition that the global variable I showed you during the playthrough, pamconfig rr bad code kill counts, isn't 0. So if you don't change it, this doesn't match, and the game uses the vanilla version. If you do, there are 2 extra lines of code in the result script. It resurrects the surrogate, just in case he was killed by some freak glitch, and kills him with a parameter that tells the game the player did it. Now, the Enclave Transponder. I made a copy of the sensor module object, which uses the same 3D model, but instead of using the model as is, I assigned a new texture set. If you look at the vanilla sensor module, it doesn't have anything in that field because the texture information is embedded in the 3D model itself. You could make a copy of the NIF file and change the textures here, but that increases the size of the mod, so you shouldn't do it unless it's absolutely necessary. Which it might be if your texture file is laid out differently and you change how it's mapped onto the 3D model, but mine isn't. It's just a straight recolor. A texture set, as you might have guessed, lets you override any or all of the texture fields in a NIF file. I didn't mess with the ones that define which parts are shiny or dull or glowing. I only changed the color, which is in what's technically called the diffuse map. Here it is in GIMP, which, if you don't use it, is like a freeware version of Photoshop. Interestingly, the sensor module uses the same texture resources as the bottle cap mine. They're a component, and if you look close when you build one, you can see the sensor module stuck to the side. Anyway, you can see where I made the case red, the wires black, and so on. I added a trigger zone in the tunnel between the Raven Rock exit and the blast door, just like the ones I showed you at Project Purity and elsewhere. There's an exploit that lets you open the blast door before you're abducted, so the trigger checks if it's triggered by the player and we're at the right quest stage. If so, it adds the transponder and displays a message explaining what it does. But the interesting part is the transponder object script. I said the transponder works basically like the ghoul mask, so you'd think I could have just copied the code from the ghoul mask, replaced the ghoul faction with the Enclave faction, and been done. But of course it wasn't that easy. Whether or not an NPC or creature attacks on sight depends on a combination of 2 factors: their aggression stat and the relationship of their faction to the player faction, which can be enemy, neutral, friend, or ally. If a relationship isn't explicitly specified, the game treats it as neutral. If their aggression is set to unaggressive, they won't attack anyone unless attacked first. If it's aggressive, they'll attack anybody in a faction whose relationship is enemy. Very aggressive, they'll attack anybody whose faction is enemy or neutral. And frenzied means they'll attack anyone they see regardless of faction relationship. Believe it or not, the relationship between the Enclave faction and the player faction is neutral. Enclave forces attack because their aggression is set to very aggressive, meaning they'll attack anybody whose faction isn't friend or ally. So the transponder sets the relationship to friend when you pick it up, and back to neutral when you drop it. So far so good, but that has an unfortunate side effect, because even very aggressive NPCs and creatures won't attack anybody whose faction relationship is friend unless they're directly attacked. The difference between friend and ally is allies won't turn hostile even if they take a bit of friendly fire, friends will. So, if you attack somebody in the Enclave faction while the relationship is friend, they'll turn hostile, but any nearby troops won't, which obviously isn't what we want. So, down in the game mode block, we have a variable, attacked Enclave, which, as you can probably guess, keeps track of whether or not you attacked the Enclave. We'll talk about that delay business in a minute. If attacked Enclave isn't set, it checks to see if you're in combat. If so, checks to see if your target is in the Enclave faction. If they are, it sets attacked Enclave to 1 and sets the faction relationship back to enemy, so any other Enclave troops will aggro. If it is set, it checks to see if you're in combat. And if you're not, meaning you either killed them all or got far enough away that combat ended, you'd be in hidden status if you're sneaking, then it sets attacked Enclave back to 0 and sets the faction relationship back to friend. The game also keeps track of faction crime, which wears off after a time. That's why if you get caught killing somebody in a settlement, that settlement will be hostile for a while, but eventually becomes friendly again. If somebody with a transponder attacks them, they'll assume they're a traitor or a spy, and they won't forget you did it if you come back 10 minutes later. The game will reset the crime flag after a few days. I thought about making it so they'd log your transponder code as stolen or compromised and permanently disable it, but that seemed a little too harsh. Now, about that delay. This is an object script, so anything in the game mode block will run every frame. If you do anything with high latency, you can tank the frame rate of the game. The latency of a simple comparison of a local variable to a constant is negligible, as I think I've mentioned when talking about other scripts. But different function calls have wildly different latencies. The worst offenders sometimes have a disclaimer in the GECK documentation like, do not call this every frame. But for most of them, there's no relative, this function is really fast, this function is slow. I suspect get combat target is fast when it's called on an NPC or creature because it could be just a simple lookup in a data structure that tracks their combat status. Their AI's got to know that constantly so it can manage their combat behavior. But calling it on the player is probably slow because there are a whole lot of factors that go into determining that. Like, where are you aiming? Is there somebody there? Have you already hit them? Did somebody else run in front of you? And so on. But of course, there's yet another wrinkle. The documentation says, and I have no reason to doubt, that the effect of function call latency is compounded for scripts on objects in an inventory. Supposedly, it can take as few as 25 or 30 inventory items with scripts that call even relatively fast functions every frame to start having a measurable impact on frame rate. If I had to guess, I'd say it might be because there are more layers of indirection when the game processes scripts on objects in an inventory versus, say, an effect script or even objects directly in the game world. But I'm not an expert on the game engine, and that's just speculation on my part. Anyway, given that I already suspect get combat target is slow when you call it on the player, which is exactly what we're doing, and it's called in a script on an object in your inventory, we definitely don't want to call it every frame. So we just count frames in the delay variable and only do the check every 30th frame. So if your game runs at 30 FPS, it might take nearby Enclave troops up to 1 second to react if you attack one of their friends, which really is probably more realistic than if they reacted instantaneously. One last thought on gameplay balance. I personally like the option to get items or perks that completely or partially negate the threat from certain categories of enemy, like the Ghoul Mask or the Animal Friend perk. I know that's kind of out of fashion these days because they can be abused, but for people who take their role-playing seriously, it just makes different ways to play more viable. Like being able to get the bobbleheads out of the Dunwich building or the Yao Guai den without being Rambo. Or, just being able to walk from point A to point B after the Waters of Life without running into an Enclave checkpoint and getting shot to ribbons every 10 feet. Anyway, I didn't make the transponder configurable because if you don't like it, you can sell it or just throw it in a trash can. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.